Hold up. What if I told you that everything you learned in school about the pyramids was basically a lie? Yeah, I'm talking about those massive stone giants sitting in the Egyptian desert. For decades, Hollywood had us thinking slaves built these things while getting whipped under the blazing sun. But here's the kicker, that's total BS. The truth? It's way more insane than you ever imagined. Stick around, because what I'm about to reveal is gonna blow your mind. Alright, so picture this. We're talking about 2.3 million stone blocks. Each one weighing around 2.5 tons. Some of these bad boys weigh up to 80 tons. That's heavier than a fully loaded semi-truck. And they're stacked with insane precision. We're talking gaps thinner than a piece of paper. Now, the Great Pyramid of Giza. This thing was the tallest structure on Earth for almost 4,000 years. 4,000 years. Let that sink in. It was built around 4,500 years ago, and we still can't fully figure out how they pulled it off. Here's where it gets wild. These pyramids are aligned almost perfectly with true north. Like, scary accurate. We're talking a margin of error of just 0.05 degrees. Modern architects with lasers and computers would struggle to match that. So how did ancient people with copper tools and zero technology manage it? The answer is gonna mess with everything you thought you knew. So for the longest time, historians were like, yeah, obviously slaves built them. Makes sense, right? Ancient Egypt, pharaohs, forced labor, it all fits the narrative we've been fed. But here's the thing. That theory, completely debunked. In the 1990s, archaeologists stumbled upon something game-changing. They found the tombs of the pyramid builders. And no joke, these weren't slave graves. These people were buried with honors. They had proper tombs, bread, beer, and even certificates of appreciation. You don't bury slaves like that. You just don't. Then they found workers' villages near the pyramids. These weren't prison camps. We're talking about organized communities with bakeries, breweries, medical facilities, and evidence of healthcare. Skeletons showed signs of healed broken bones, meaning these people received medical treatment. Someone actually cared if they lived or died. So if it wasn't slaves, then who the heck built the pyramids? Brace yourself. The pyramids were built by paid workers. Yeah, you heard me right. Paid. Egyptian workers. These weren't random dudes either. We're talking skilled laborers, engineers, and craftsmen. It was basically ancient Egypt's version of a national project. Think of it like NASA during the moon landing, except with limestone instead of rockets. Estimates suggest around 20,000 to 30,000 workers were involved at any given time. And here's the crazy part, they worked in rotating shifts. Farmers would come during the flooding season of the Nile when they couldn't farm, work on the pyramids for a few months, and then head back home. It was like a seasonal gig economy, ancient style. But it gets even better. These workers weren't just getting paid in cash, they were getting fed like kings. Archaeologists found evidence of massive food deliveries. We're talking cattle, sheep, fish, bread, and beer. Lots of beer. Some estimates say workers consumed around 4,000 to 5,000 pounds of meat per day. That's insane. These people were eating better than most folks today. Why would Egypt go through all this trouble? Because building a pyramid wasn't just construction. It was a religious duty, a divine project. Workers believed they were helping their pharaoh reach the afterlife, which would in turn bless all of Egypt. So yeah, they were motivated. Now let's talk about the how, because this is where things get absolutely bonkers. First off, moving those massive stones. No, they didn't have cranes or forklifts. But they had something just as genius, water and sand. Recent experiments showed that wetting the sand reduced friction by up to 50%. So they'd pour water on the sand, drag the stones on wooden sledges, and boom, physics did the heavy lifting. Then there's the ramps. For years, people thought they built straight ramps up the side. But here's the problem, a straight ramp would have to be a mile long to reach the top. That's ridiculous. Instead, most experts now believe they used internal spiral ramps built right into the pyramid itself. Mind blown. And the precision? Dude, it's unreal. The Great Pyramid's base is level to within just 2 centimeters across its entire 230-meter width. That's insane for something built without modern tools. They used the stars for alignment, shadow measurements for angles, and water channels to ensure the base was perfectly level. Oh, and there's this insane detail: the mortar used between the stones is stronger than the stones themselves. We still don't fully understand the exact chemical composition. In some ways, ancient Egyptian engineering is still schooling us. Of course, the internet being the internet, people had to come up with wild theories. Aliens, Atlanteans, time travelers, lost ancient technology. You name it, someone's pitched it. And look, I get it. When something seems impossible to explain, our brains want a shortcut. A dramatic answer. But here's the deal: the real story is actually more impressive than any conspiracy theory. Think about it. Ancient Egyptians had 3 things we're kinda losing today: time, patience, and an unshakable sense of purpose. They didn't need aliens. They had something better: human ingenuity, determination, and thousands of people working toward a common goal. The pyramids aren't proof of extraterrestrials. They're proof that when humans come together with vision and skill, we can literally move mountains. Or in this case, build them. So here's the bottom line: the pyramids weren't built by slaves chained in the desert. They were built by skilled, paid workers who believed they were part of something bigger than themselves. They were engineers, problem solvers, and artists who pushed the limits of what was possible. And honestly, that's way cooler than any alien theory. These weren't just tombs. They were monuments to human potential. A giant middle finger to the idea that ancient people were primitive. They looked at the impossible and said, "Watch this." The pyramids have stood for 4,500 years. Empires have risen and fallen. Entire civilizations have been forgotten. But those stone giants, still there, still standing, still making us ask, how the hell did they do that? Maybe that's the real lesson. We're capable of so much more than we think. We just need the vision, the teamwork, and the guts to try. So next time you see a picture of the pyramids, don't think about aliens or slaves. Think about regular people who did something extraordinary. Because that's the real story, and it's pretty damn epic. Alright, that's it for today's video. If this blew your mind, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started with these deep dives into history's biggest mysteries. Drop a comment and let me know. What ancient mystery should I tackle next? Seriously, I want to know what's keeping you up at night. And hey, share this with someone who still thinks aliens built the pyramids. Let's set the record straight together. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.